welcome to the channel. Before we get started, I just want to say I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a priest, I'm not a life coach. I'm just a guy who's been through it and came out on the other side. Everything I share here is from my own experience, what worked for me, what I've learned along the way. If you're in crisis, please reach out to a professional. But if you're looking for real talk from someone who's actually walked this road, that is what this is. And today, I'm going to straighten up my shop. I feel like this is some of the clutter that relates so much to my daily life. I have all these things, and then I can't find what it is that I need. So now I need to take the time and be intentional and put things in their place. So that's what I'm going to do today. I do have a cool project to work on. See a motorcycle frame in the back and an engine and some wheels here. That's an old 70s Kawasaki chopper project. We'll be building that in later episodes. I need to make room and put things away first, which got me thinking just about all the things in life. Every day gets pretty hectic, and it never seems like there's enough time for all the things, and then it seems even more hectic when the things aren't where they're supposed to be or aren't where I remembered them. And I have been a mechanic for a long time, and I have pretty much every tool that I need, but it doesn't do me a lot of good if I don't know where it is and I can't find it. So today is about prioritizing putting my things in order so I can just execute better on a daily basis. If I don't do that, then I waste so much time and energy trying to just find the things, and then by the time I do, I've already lost half the motivation to continue on the thing I initially wanted to do. So trying to find a right place for everything. The only thing constant is change, so I try to embrace that. I try to adapt and roll with the punches, and it served me pretty well. Having myself stuck in a certain kind of mindset, I know it's easy, but it doesn't seem to translate to the new places I want to go in life. I like fixing things, I like working on stuff. I got blessed with this toolbox the other day. Got it for pretty cheap. I'm pretty excited to put all my tools in here. We moved to Washington a few years ago, and I only recently was able to make a trip up there and go grab a bunch of my tools and bring them down. Again, just adapting to the change, trying to find a place for everything. We have another fuel tank here for a Honda CB cafe bike project. That's going to be another build as well. But in the meantime, I got to get my shop in order before I can do anything productive. You have to put the oxygen mask on yourself before you can go assist and aid others, like they announce in the airport on the flights. I try to make systems for things, so if I know things go together and I can find that later on, I try to organize my stuff in that way so it's easier for me to remember it. That's the thing someone told me a long time ago. It says don't make goals, make systems. If I make systems, then it's easier for me just to follow them every day instead of trying to remember what it is that I'm striving towards every day. I mean, I still remember what I'm striving towards, but I am mostly just focused on the routine, and that's what's going to get me to where I ultimately want to be. And being successful in anything is not about just doing it once. It's about making that a part of my life and making that a habit. So I try to focus on that and that seems to do pretty well, so I'm gonna keep doing that. I definitely didn't used to be so disciplined and so organized and put together. That's something I've learned to pick up as I've gotten older, and I like it now. I feel like my stress is significantly lessened when I can have all my stuff in order, so I'm trying to find a place for everything, and now this is an opportunity. I know it is just more like chores and more cleaning, but now I can just take the time and go through and clean this stuff up and have a good workspace. Pardon the mess and dirtiness. I try not to nitpick my workspaces anymore. I like it being super clean, but realistically it's gonna get dirty again, so that's not one of my hugest priorities. I'm gonna get some socket rails and collectors. I do enjoy fixing things. I feel like that's my normal natural setting, and even after working a full day I like to come home and still turn wrenches on things. It's therapeutic, and especially motorcycles, I call that throttle therapy. There's something about it, just kind of opens your mind up, but not in a stressful way, just kind of in a restorative way. I really like just taking something that was, technically no good anymore and fixing it up and bringing it back to life, making it cool, not to, prove people wrong, like that thing didn't have value. But I don't know, a lot of times I've definitely related to that. I felt like I was past my prime and beyond repair and not good for anything, and now I know that that wasn't accurate, so I feel like an old motorcycle out behind a shed or whatever that's been forgotten kind of relates to how I felt before. So now I like taking on those projects and making something cool out of them and giving them another chance. I feel like if we're alive today, we have an opportunity to put that 24 hours towards something that legitimately matters to us. And it's crazy though how hard it is to try to be intentional about stuff to build that habit when that's not a lot of the world's natural setting. So trying to find the best way to go about that, what works for you, that's what you're gonna have to figure out. I know for me, if I get my tools in order and get the shop in order, then I can come in here and I can instantly start fixing what needs to be fixed. I don't have to wonder what tool it's going to take to fix it or where that tool is located, because I know where it is, because it's where it's supposed to be. That, I wish I would have understood how crucial that was to the equation when I was younger. Nobody ever really prioritized that. They say if you don't plan your day, other people will plan it for you, and that is also true that I've learned. Sometimes it's easy just to drift with the tides and kind of get knocked around with whatever life has going on, but it definitely takes a different mindset and a different intentionality to live with purpose, and I try to do that now. I feel like I've wasted a lot of life with addiction and chasing meaningless pursuits and just all the things, like keeping up with the Joneses and all of that nonsense. Now I try to be a little bit better than I was yesterday. I try to help people where I can, and I try to go and do fun, cool things, because tomorrow's not promised to any of us, and I feel like if my life is in order, then I have more opportunities to go do the things that, are meaningful, like spend time with my family and take cool trips or get a cool project or whatever. Like, I feel like I'm beyond blessed with the life that I have, because Lord knows I shouldn't be here, just dumb choices in the past. But I'm proud to say that I am sober now, 17 and a half years. It's time flies, but it definitely didn't come overnight. There's a lot of intentional work, and I'd say the most of it was just me focusing on protecting my surroundings and my circle and the people I had that I allowed to be around me. That was one of the major things that helped drive just a successful support network. I mean, nobody's responsible for my actions and my success besides me, so I have to take that ownership, but I can decide who I allow into my life. And yeah, that's also another major thing that isn't given enough credit. Bad company will corrupt good character, and I'm not calling anybody else bad. I'm just saying they might not be necessarily good for me and where I am at life at that time. So I gotta make that choice and distance myself from that, because it's not a positive thing at that time. It's I don't know, just gotta come to terms and just be honest with the fact that I can't do certain things anymore, like drinking or partying or going out, and I don't miss any of that stuff. But I did have to learn how to live my life in a totally new, sober way, and all the issues that come along with life, and deal with, inconvenience and hardship and pain and suffering and just all the things. And that was the bigger problem that I had over just being an alcoholic or an addict. I used that to cope and deal, or not to cope and not to deal with my life. I used that to avoid that stuff, and I understand that now, and now I have better tools for dealing with those things when I encounter them. But at the time, I didn't know any of that, and I just kind of filtered it all through as stuff that made me angry, which kind of fueled my drinking and my other addictive traits. But yeah, now I can identify my thoughts and my patterns and make it so I understand where the things are coming from, and now I can respond in a good, healthy, positive way. And that is the biggest part of the battle I've learned. It's pretty crazy. I know it's been getting close to 20 years now being on this side of sobriety, which it's still an everyday thing. Just being aware of all the things, all the triggers, and having the wherewithal to make the right next choice. Every day you have that ability to make the right next choice, and it's really what it comes down to. I try to boil things down to their most simplistic nature, and just like figuring out what's wrong with a vehicle, I feel like I have to identify a problem before I can solve one. So a lot of what I do, I try to literally just think of it like a technical issue, like with a vehicle, like with a bike or a car or whatever. And I go, well, if this system's not working, then it must be this. And I just kind of go through it that way. And I don't know, it helps me kind of, I don't want to say detach, but maybe not take it personal in the moment, so I can objectively kind of look at the problem. But yeah, that's that's been one of the biggest things that's worked the best for me, and it's served me well. I've seen it work for others, so I think I'm gonna keep doing it in the meantime. But it's yeah, not dealing with things, ignoring stuff, and not saying that everything can be dealt with immediately when the problem arises. Some stuff you gotta kind of take and evaluate and figure out a plan of attack before you actually start moving in that direction, to even know if you're moving in the right direction, to try to respond and not react. And sometimes that's easier said than done, but just live and learn and try to do what we can. It's just pretty crazy to think, like, before, the things that would set me off or frustrate me or just kind of take me off my path, that I would allow to steal my joy. I don't like giving my strength away to other things and people and circumstances, but I used to do that all the time, and it just got me chasing my tail, and it wasn't other people's intentions to do that to me, but since I lacked that awareness, I didn't have the ability and the wherewithal to understand what was going on. But now I can get a little older. Hopefully I learned and can process through these things as close to in real time as possible. But it's all we can really do. Try to get a little better than we were yesterday. I can't wait to get this stuff. That's another trick I've taught myself, is like not thinking about how lame it is to have to go in and clean and organize a shop, but the fact that this is going to be a good shop when I'm done, and I'll be able to put this chopper together and take it for its first spin. Focusing on those results is definitely a motivating thing, and I get genuinely excited to go and work on this stuff, because it's going to get me closer to the things that really do give me like fulfillment and excitement, and it's easy to be motivated about those things. So I wouldn't call it gaslighting yourself, but whatever you got to do to step into action. And a lot of times, if you don't know what to do, just simply start moving in any direction, and that bit of movement will kind of help propel you. And then also you can act your way into thinking, don't think your way into acting. And a lot of times, if I'm sitting there trying to convince myself that I need to go do this thing, I can talk myself out of pretty much anything. So nowadays I try to just start moving forward and not just start acting and don't even think about it. Like, if I know that this is gonna at least start moving me out of the woods, then I start moving in that direction. Instead, the rest of it I can figure out later. So that's kind of one of the other things that's served me well. I do love when things are chaotic and then you put them in order, just how good that feels. That just like sense of calm. It's like you don't want to clean your bedroom, but then once you do, it just feels great, and feels like it gives you that little bit extra, like it's a positive feedback loop. So now that little bit of extra motivation, now it's like, all right, well, what else can I achieve? And that right there has been one of the unlocks to just being even more productive with my days in my life. And it's funny, because you do all these things and you get further down the road, and pretty soon you start to go, man, if I channel this energy into literally anything, then there's nothing that can stop me. And that was another massive unlock for me, is that I have to chase a positive life like I chased getting drunk and being high. And I already possessed the ability to relentlessly pursue things, so now I just needed to reframe it and to focus it on something that was actually good for me and my family. And I'm proud to say that I can do that now. And just kind of flipping that switch and defining what motivates me and drives me in a day. And the first day it definitely wasn't easy, but as you go and you start to build those habits and exercise your change muscle, so to speak, which is the name of the channel, then things start to become second nature, and they start to become pretty straightforward. And now it's not a difficult thing. I learned that growth only comes outside of my comfort zone. So now I try not to be frustrated when something pushes me out of that comfort zone. I like things being predictable and things being straightforward, but also now I know if I'm stuck in that complacency loop that I'm not growing. And that's one of my other systems. I just try to do, my own inventories and introspection every so often to make sure that I'm still aligned with where I want to be in life and what I want to do. And some of that stuff changes every day, but what doesn't change is the fact that I just want to keep growing. So part of that is getting my garage in order, getting my shop in order, and now I know where my tools are, and now I know what I need to fix the things when I encounter those problems. Thank you very much for tuning in. I promise the next episodes will have more building action. I have recently picked up a few projects besides the motorcycles. I have a Ram ProMaster van, a high roof, long wheelbase that I'm going to be converting into a camper. I also just picked up a Unicorn 7.3 F350 with 70,000 original miles. Pretty excited about that. But yeah, a lot more to come. Just want to say thank you for tuning in, and if you can, please like and subscribe. Share this with anybody you think might benefit from it, and hope you have a great day. Thank you.